This is Tim Bryce with my column titled, The War Against Trump. The Democrats and mainstream media did not like losing the general election. They are still at a loss as to how Donald Trump won and as such cannot accept the election results. So much so, there must be some foul play afoot on the GOP side. Because of this, they are putting President-elect Trump under a microscope and will contest everything he does from now on. To illustrate, during his transition planning period, they criticize every appointment Mr. Trump makes and cast suspicion regarding each candidate's character and intentions. With rare exception, it appears Mr. Trump is selecting people with real-world experience, be it in business or the military, as opposed to people from academia. The Democrats and media simply do not accept this. Every one of Mr. Trump's publicly made decisions have been ridiculed, be it the carrier deal, the cost for Air Force One, or his feelings on intel briefings. This leads me to believe he will be less likely to tell the press much of anything during his administration. The Democrats recalled votes in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, a costly endeavor which bore no fruit and actually garnered more votes for Mr. Trump. There is a desperate movement to change electoral votes. One electoral voter in Lake Wales, Florida, Catherine Gates Skipper, a Republican, claims she is being inundated with mail, emails, phone messages, even Christmas cards, not to cast her vote for Mr. Trump. It is obvious to her that her background was well researched, as most of the correspondence she receives mentions her prior service in the U.S. Marines and Veteran Affairs. Interestingly, she claims most of the notes are coming from California and were openly from various Democratic organizations. Even the Associated Press reached out to her to ask her about her vote. Kat is not alone in this full-court press, as she claims the two other electoral voters in Polk County are also being swamped with solicitations to change their votes, and probably all of the other Florida electorates as well. They are trying to make an argument that Trump is a puppet of Russia. However, this is based on flimsy evidence regarding the Democrats and Republicans' email servers, making one wonder if it was an internal leak as opposed to an external hack. In all likelihood, this will result in another expensive congressional investigation with nothing to show for it. And there is still a movement underfoot to protest and stop the inauguration. These maneuvers to delegitimize Mr. Trump's victory are insidious and smacks of sore losers. During his term of office, it is unlikely there will be anything done by the president-elect that will be trumpeted as a success, be it a better health plan, developing more robust GDP, better trade deals, tightening of our immigration laws, defeat of ISIS, Supreme Court nominees, or whatever. Even if Mr. Trump were to miraculously create world peace, the Democrats and media would still want him hung on a cross, as he represents an outsider challenging the Washington establishment. Even though Mr. Trump hasn't been sworn in yet, the press is already considering who will be the Democratic nominee for 2020, with Joe Biden currently leading the pack. Just as they underestimated Mr. Trump from the beginning, it is beyond their comprehension he will be successful as president and run for a second term. All of this means Mr. Trump's term of office will likely be the most tumultuous in recent memory. It will make Richard Nixon's relationship with the Democrats and press seem like a cozy arrangement. To his credit, though, Mr. Trump ignores the criticism and carries on, giving the impression he is on a mission. All of this much to the chagrin of his detractors. The president-elect's only ace in the hole is that the GOP controls both chambers of the Congress. In reality, what we are witnessing is a change in our culture, not so much in terms of race or sex, but in the sense of our moral values as to what is right and wrong. For example, the movement towards Mr. Trump means people want a less intrusive government with more freedom and personal initiative. This culture war is at the heart of the liberal agenda, who seeks to change the very character of America. Cultural changes are naturally volatile, as it represents a departure from the status quo. This is true in corporate culture as well as in any change of government. People will either embrace the change or resist it. This explains why the Democrats and media are desperately trying to thwart Mr. Trump, as his interests appear to be the antithesis of theirs, particularly Mr. Obama's. In reality, Mr. Trump is a complex individual with considerable experience in world business and claims to love this country. As such, he considers both sides of an issue before making a decision, something we should do more of. Even though the Democrats and mainstream media are pledged to fight Mr. Trump to the bitter end, the one undeniable fact driving them absolutely bananas is that Donald Trump will be inaugurated the 45th President of the United States on January 20th, 2017. Friends, keep the faith. This is Tim Bryce in Palm Harbor, Florida. Follow me on the internet at timbryce.com.